Okay, in this section, we're going to look at just setting some default settings for you for when, if you upload videos, they would automatically upload in certain categories. And you can also change some preferences and things about your YouTube channel in this section. Now, the menus on this particular section have changed a lot. And one thing that you might be noticing is that YouTube kind of goes back and forth sometimes between its new launch of features, and then if they haven't really gotten to a certain feature, it takes you back to the old version. So sometimes the little menus get a little funky here. If you get lost, you can always go up here and click YouTube in the channel. It'll kind of bring you back to this home page here. But the first thing I want to just show you is if I click under my name, which of course is a little quirky too, so the icon's not showing, but I still click here and I'll still get the menu. There is a settings section. So I'm going to just click on that to show you what's in there. So first of all, it gives you like some general account settings. Now, your name and your picture, and like if you want a photograph to show here, that would be, you'd have to edit that in Google because that's really your Google account that is connecting there. You can also just click here and just say, what are my channel status and features? These are just things like what you have turned on and what you have turned off. Most of it, you can just take a look at this, but kind of see if you wanted to change anything. I haven't really touched anything here. I pretty much have everything enabled except for super chat, which means that I don't allow users to have big chats underneath my videos. But if you wanted to turn something off or on or off, you just click right on it and you can switch your settings. So I'm just going to go back to where I was before. Also that you're going to find in this section that we were just here, you can create more than one channel. I don't necessarily always recommend doing that, but if you can, and maybe you have a channel for your personal videos and then one for your school videos. So that's an option. And under advanced settings here, this is just kind of showing you like, this is the custom URL for my channel. Do not do anything with brand accounts because they are disabling those for education accounts. So if you create a brand account, they're going to delete it anyway. So I'm not even going to talk about that. None of you have a brand account right now. You don't even need to know about it. You can also delete your channel here if you really wanted to. I'm just going to go back again. Let's make sure we're at the same page. So under account, we're really not going to change anything here because if you do this, it's just changing your Google account settings, and I don't think that any of you really have any reason why you need to do that. Okay, a couple other things under settings. These are just general YouTube settings. So under notifications, you can decide what you want to get notifications on. So sometimes you'll get like the little notifications bar up here. These are things that will pop up as notifications. I only have like if there's like a channel that I subscribe to and they've uploaded new videos and things, it will show up there. You can turn, if you want to turn it off, you just basically click the sliders. Recommended videos, that's kind of like when you watch a video and then afterwards all these similar videos pop up. You can't really completely turn those off, but I turn this, I'm going to turn that off just because I don't want to get notified about those. Activity on my channel, these are like who's people have commented on your videos or watched your videos. You can get notifications about this. Any comments that you make, replies to comments. I really don't want notifications on all of these things, but if you do want them, you would just toggle on. And then you can set your default language and things as well. This section here, send me emails about my YouTube activity and updates I requested. What this will do is if you turn this on, anything that you've set up here, anytime that, like, instead of just getting a notification up in the corner of YouTube, you'll actually get an email message for every single action that happens. I do not recommend turning that on because if you get people that are actually watching videos on your channel, you're going to end up with a lot of email from YouTube, and it will probably get overwhelming. So I'm going to leave that off for now. Under playback and performance section, this is where you can say, like, you can show the annotations. So for instance, like the text descriptions of your video. I usually leave this on, always show captions. This kind of makes all of my videos be ADA compliant. And in the video, it gives the CC at the bottom. So if someone does need the closed captions, they can just click on it. I also just leave this as auto. Under privacy, this is where you can decide like what, you know, people who come to your channel, do you want them to see certain things? So I don't really necessarily think that anyone needs to know which videos I like or dislike. So I checked this box. I want to keep it private. Also, all the playlists that I saved, like for instance, I'm saved to the YouTube help playlist. Like I don't really need you all to know that, so I have that private. You users to my page are not going to know that. And then the same with subscriptions. If I'm subscribed to a YouTube channel, it's not like out there and listed so that everyone can see all of the channels I subscribe to. You can keep these actually turned on if you want, but it's just, you know, what are people who come to your channel seeing? And then there is this whole section where, you know, you probably watched a YouTube channel where there are advertisements on it. There are people that make money by using YouTube on their YouTube channels. With our education account, you're not really allowed to do that. So if it is something you want to do, you need to create your own personal account and do a monetary account that way. So we are not going to touch on ad settings because it becomes an issue for education accounts anyway. Connected accounts. We're not going to connect anything, but you could technically connect other applications to YouTube, and that kind of gives you a little bit more functionality. But this section is kind of a lot towards like gaming and things, and we're not really going to do anything with this. Even with Watch on TV, we're not going to do anything here as well. But you can play videos on your TV, and it is easy to connect, and they kind of have the automatic connections to your TV. So with the click of this one button, you can have your video show on the TV. If you're interested in that, you can walk through this section. There's also some videos on it in the YouTube help subscription, which I will show you how to do later in the class. Billing and payments are not going to apply to us. We have free accounts. And then under advanced settings, you're really not going to do much here either because it's those same advanced settings that we saw in the other section. See, YouTube is kind of repeating itself. This is why I apologize to all of you with the navigation of YouTube, because it is a little bit, it's like every day I come in, something's a little bit different. So one thing that I wanted to show you too is there's two different places for settings. So this is your general account settings, but if I click over here and I go to YouTube Studio, this is of course still in beta version. This is where we'll be going to like customize our channels and things like that. You're going to notice there's another settings over here on the left once you're in Studio. And notice how this icon changed. So this tells me that I'm not in the regular YouTube. I'm now in the Studio, which is where they're doing a lot of work on. So in this section, there is a settings. So there are a couple of things that I will want you to change in here. So first of all, we're not going to change anything under general. Just so we know it's out here, under channel, this is like, what are the keywords that describe your channel? So you can add keywords in here, and that will just help people search and find your stuff if you want them to. This customized channel is actually a link to something else, which we're going to talk about in a different section. But under advanced settings, you can, you can do things like this. Do you want it displayed how many people are subscribed to your channel? If yes, check the box. If not, no. What about interest-based ads? You're going to see advertisements. Do you want them to be based on your own preferences, or would you prefer they just be random? I just kept them as random. It doesn't really matter either way. They are going to give you advertisements no matter what. Some of these other features we're going to be changing in different sections of the course, so we're going to leave that here. Branding is where you can like kind of create watermarks over videos and things like that. We're not really going to deal with that in this because YouTube and Google are both getting strict about branding with your free education accounts, and they really want to eliminate it. So I'm not going to even talk about this here. And if probably none of you are doing this, but if you are, I will find out and I will notify you and we'll talk individually. Okay, upload defaults is where we are going to make a change. What I like to do in this section is, first of all, you can decide that anytime you open up a YouTube video, should it be public or private? There's a difference between a public video, a private video, and an unlisted video. I think it's a good idea for you to leave them all public for right now, unless it's something that you just don't want out there for the world to see, in which case I usually make them unlisted. And that means that the only way that people can find them is if you've provided the link. You can't search and find the YouTube videos. Some teachers like to do this, especially if they're concerned that there's a possibility of copyright information in their videos. They can make them unlisted, but YouTube does check for copyright. So if they're just going to scan all videos, no matter how they're uploaded. And if you do they'll notify you if they feel there's a copyright issue in any of your videos, and they will remove them from the YouTube server. But you will get notified. So I'm going to just leave this as public, but under advanced settings, what I'm going to do is I like to keep my category as education because, and there are a lot of different categories, but I'm defaulting that all of my videos are going to be in the education category. The reason I do this is some districts filter their YouTube settings. It's kind of like how we block certain sites in district. Some districts actually filter YouTube videos as well, and the only ones that the teachers in those districts can see are those that are labeled education. So just to make it open to all educators, I always change my category so all my videos are defaulted up as an education category. This you're not going to change. Not going to change your video languages. This is just like you kind of have to leave this on here. It's sort of like your acknowledgement that you're not putting copyrighted information that's already aired on television into your YouTube channel. So you don't need to really do that. The only thing really here that I think is important is making sure you're changing that to education. You can disable comments on your YouTube channels, or you can have them where you can approve them. Mine says hold potentially inappropriate comments. So pretty much anyone can comment, except that if there's swear words or inappropriate language in it, YouTube will flag that and it will not post the comment, and it'll give me a message and say you need to approve this comment before it's posted. And then you would hit save. I didn't make any changes, so I'll just hit cancel here. But that's where you're going to basically set up all of your settings. So just to review, YouTube settings, actually I'm going to just go back to YouTube for a second. So the YouTube channel settings, which would be under your name in the right-hand corner, in this settings, is a little bit different than if you go to YouTube Studio and the settings in the YouTube Studio. So they are different settings where it's kind of like we have two different setting sections, and I do think they're going to combine all the settings into one menu. You're not going to have two different options for settings eventually. Because a lot of the stuff that's in this section has just recently been posted there. So, but that's where you're going to find the settings in these two sections. If you have any questions, please let me know. I know sometimes this is confusing right now with the navigation going back and forth between old and new sections here, so don't hesitate to let me know if you're having any issues. Thanks.